Hey everyone, welcome back to Casual Fangirls. I'm T.
And I'm Nessa.
And as I said, we are the Casual Fangirls. So in this episode, we got a little bit of a mishmash, hodgepodge of things, or potpourri, if you would, of things we're going to chat about today. But before we jump into that, I'm going to give you a spoiler warning. Don't know what we're going to, I have an idea of kind of what we're going to talk about, but we're going to talk about any and everything today. Specifically though, if you have not seen Black Widow, the MCU as a whole, Infinity Saga, all the way through, all the TV shows, all the movies, or things that just generally have been out for longer than a month, you have been warned, like stop now. If you like pain, if you are a masochist and you have not seen any of these things and you want to listen in any way, have us spoil it for you, then by all means, do what you got to do, keep listening. We will try our best not to spoil anything that's recently come out, we'll say within the past month-ish. But don't hold us to that because we're gonna talk how we feel, right? So you've been warned. Spoiler warning, we're gonna talk about stuff in detail. If you don't like it, stop, go watch stuff, come back and join us. So on the previous episodes of Casual Fangirls, we've done super deep dives. We spent a lot of time talking about the Disney Plus show What If. Such a long time, but in my opinion, it was a good time. Today, we're going to wrap up our what if discussion, talk about our favorite episodes, which ones we thought were better than the others. We're going to zoom out a little bit and chat quickly about the MCU TV shows as a whole and our thoughts on those shows, what we've been watching lately. I'm excited to talk about like what fandoms we've been like consuming in our in-between time.
Yes,
and then we're going to finish up with our thoughts on Black Widow, which Nessa and I have finally seen.
So excited.
Some of us saw it an hour ago. That would be me. So we're gonna talk about all of that and so much more. So let's just jump right into it. So bringing it back to our what if discussion that we've been having for the last couple of weeks, Nessa, after 9 episodes of the Disney Plus MCU series, What If? How do you feel about the series?
I mean, I think in general, I enjoyed it. And we've said this before. I think I wish I came into watching the show with a different mindset, which was like, let's watch it like it's a Saturday morning cartoon. Let it be crazy, let it be wild. But I think because they instilled in us that this is canon, these are stories that are going to matter, that I spent so much time in my head being like, but no, he wouldn't act like that, and she wouldn't have done that, and the story wouldn't have. So I think if I had like cleared my brain and been like, let's just watch it as like an anthology series, these stories mean nothing, I think I would have enjoyed it way more. Rewatching some of the episodes, I definitely enjoyed better on the second watch. But overall, it was a fun ride. I don't think it was the strongest showing from the Marvel Disney Plus shows, but it was a fun ride. How'd you feel about it overall?
So I think to sum it up, I would say I enjoyed it for what it was, right? Like,
yeah.
But if I'm honest, like what excites me, what I know excites you, what excites us, why we started this little community of casual fans is because we like talking about stories, right? And what excites me about the MCU specifically is their ability to tell a very complex story with a million moving pieces and stick the landing, right?
So, yes.
I have high hopes that there's a plan for the What If series, but as of right now, I don't see the vision yet, no pun intended. So I think honestly, I'm kind of neutral on it. Like I said, it was a good ride. You know, I nitpicked a lot with some of the episodes. That's what I'm gonna do because I care so much about the stories. But until I can tell where they're going, and to their credit, I don't think I have a really, really good idea of how the What If TV shows or the What If series is going to play into the broader MCU game plan, phase 4, phase 5. Like, are they even planning phase 5 yet? Whatever. We'll talk about that. But you know, until I understand like how What If plays into the overarching story, I'm kind of neutral on it.
Yeah, I think retrospectively we're gonna be like, oh, this really mattered, and like I think it's gonna have more meaning for us. when we look back. But as of now, it's just kind of like, okay, you gave us this. Now what? So yeah, so I
Yeah.
guess we can kind of hop into our rankings, right? So we are going to rank for you guys the what if episodes in order from our least to most favorite episodes. I will go 1st. So coming in at number 9, I have what if Thor were an only child?
And that is where it should be. I have the exact same one as my my least favorite episode.
Gotcha. Number 8, I have what if the world lost its mightiest heroes? Number 7, I have what if the Watcher broke his oath? Number 6, what if Ultron won? Number 5, what if Doctor Strange lost his heart instead of his hands? Number 4, what if Captain Carter were the first Avenger? Number 3, what if zombies? Number 2, what if T'Challa became Star-Lord? And number 1, what if Killmonger rescued Tony Stark? So when I was ranking these, right?
Okay, yep.
I had to think to myself, what stories did I enjoy the most? And for me, when I'm choosing favorites, it's like, if I pull up the episode guide right now, which ones do I want to rewatch the most? And I think that's pretty much what guided my list. And I'm not gonna lie, like when the episodes first came out, T'Challa being Star-Lord was not necessarily at my top. I think you and I talked about it and stuff in private, but I was just like, I don't know, it was okay, but whatever. But then like rewatching it, I was like, no, wait, this is
it's top tier.
It's top tier. And then especially with the following episodes that came out, I was like, oh no, wait, this is definitely like at the top of the list in terms of episodes. And I had Killmonger at 1 specifically because that was the only episode where it ended, and I was like, but wait, I need more. Like that was the only episode that did that to me. So that's why I had to put it at number 1. Party Thor had to be number 9 because it wasn't doing it for me. On a rewatch, it was better than like the first impression that I have of it, but like just in terms of where it fell in terms of the episodes for me, it had to be last.
So I respect your ranking, but I would respectfully disagree with how you ranked 1 through 8. Basically, I totally agree that Party Thor was not my favorite. Not that it was bad; it just didn't leave me feeling anyway. Yeah. It wasn't. You know what? That's not fair. Let me give it some credit. It was a nice cliffhanger for the Ultimate Ultron episode that followed it, right? Because it ended with Ultron popping up and the Watcher being like, "Wait, what is happening?" So that was kind of cool. But that had nothing to do with Thor, the storyline for Thor himself. So bottom of the barrel. So I will do the same thing. I will go from least to favorite. So you're gonna react to this, and this is fine. So number 9 is my Party Thor. Is Party Thor. Number 8 is Captain Carter.
Wow.
Number 7 is Zombies. Number 6 is the Watcher breaking his oath. Number 5 is Killmonger rescuing Tony Stark. 4, what if Earth lost their mightiest heroes? 3, what if Ultron won? 2, Doctor Strange. 1, T'Challa as Star-Lord. React. Or do you want me to defend? I'm going to defend myself. Okay, let me defend myself. T'Challa as Star-Lord.
Right.
And this could be an unfair, I hate to frame it this way as an unfair advantage, but seeing or hearing Chadwick Boseman in anything gives me an emotional response, right? Yeah. And I was, as soon as he popped up on the screen and I heard Chadwick Boseman, I was like, I am invested in this story. Outside of that, I also think that it was just, I am a sucker for character building. a little bit more than just straight plot. And I just thought it was a really nice, true to the T'Challa character that I know, way to see T'Challa in a different setting. Like that, this felt like the most quintessential what if. Like, what if I the same exact character I know is literally like one thing changed, which is the premise of the show. But I have nitpicks about like the whole choice that like screws everything up. The T'Challa episode for me was like the purest form of what if one choice was different, how would that play out? And there's a nitpick for that episode as well. I don't think Thanos would act the way he acted at the episode at all. But when it came to like the main character of the episode, I thought that was spot on. So T'Challa as Star-Lord was my number one. And just quickly, Doctor Strange, I thought was a great storyline. I thought it was great seeing all of that, was super fun. And then What If Ultron won, I thought was just great seeing the world go to Ish, basically. I thought that was super fun. So those are my top three. What about my list is making you say wow the most?
I'm very surprised. I guess I shouldn't be. I was surprised that Captain Carter ranked so low for you. But I guess I shouldn't be. I shouldn't be, but I was just, I don't know, because I enjoyed it so much.
You did, and I didn't.
That I was just like, how could she put it at number 8?
To be fair, I've only watched it once.
Okay.
When it came out, the evening it came out, 11 weeks ago, right? So there's that, but I just can't get over the choice not making sense to me in that episode.
Yeah.
So the way just really quickly for the listeners, my issue with the Captain Carter episode is that, this is our first foray into the What If series. It's been set up that one choice has changed the trajectory of some character we know, their life in that universe. Mm-hmm. And Captain Carter's episode is set up such that the Watcher says that the choice that eventually leads Captain Carter to being the first Avenger, not the first Avengers, being what's the terminology?
Yeah, first Avenger.
Is it the first Avenger?
Yeah, she was the first Avenger. Mm-hmm.
I don't like that terminology neither, because in the timeline, technically, Captain Marvel was the first Avenger. Like the way the Infinity Saga sets it up, like Fury comes up with the Avenger thing after meeting, whatever. I'm not going to do that now. That's another nitpick. But anyway, so Captain Carter becomes the first Avenger, according to the Watcher, because she chose to not go into the booth to watch the serum transformation with Steve Rogers. When in my opinion, in reality, I mean, sure, she didn't go up there, so no one else did, but the Hydra spy set off the bomb before the transformation took place. That's the choice that made it so that Captain Carter became the first Avenger and became the super soldier, basically. So that particular nitpick is what makes it. I was not able to enjoy the episode because I was so stuck on that. To be honest, I was so stuck on that. And then, for someone like me who has not read the comic books, when what I would call the Kraken came out of the Tesseract, I was like, what is happening? What is happening? What are we doing? Like that completely, where are we? Everybody stop. So, because I still, those memories are still in my head. Maybe if I rewatched it now, I'd feel different, but that's where my rankings are right now. So.
Oh man. Yeah. I'm surprised that, Killmonger ranked, I thought Killmonger would have ranked higher for you. I'm surprised you put it where you put it.
Killmonger was a good episode. I'm not even gonna lie. Yeah. I don't know that I had the same feeling as you, as like, I want to know how this ends. I don't know if I had the same feeling as intensely as you. I absolutely wanted to know how it ended, but it wasn't like I'm on the edge of my seat about it. And honestly, I really enjoyed Killmonger as a villain, as a very complex individual, but he's so self-serving. Which is,
but he's got a point. The man's got a point.
He has a point. He has a point.
He's got a point.
He has a point, and I don't disagree with his point. I disagree with his methods. And I think, you know what it is? I think it's because I agree so much with his point but I don't agree with his methods, that it almost feels a little like dirty for me to like agree with him. Does that make sense?
No, it makes total sense. Yeah. Because it's
So,
like your thoughts are right, but your methods are wrong. So
right.
it's
And I
like,
don't want to associate myself with your methods, but also like it's like, you're doing a good job, baby. You shouldn't be doing that. You're doing a good job. Like it's like, that's how I feel about it.
Boy, you doing a good job. Boy, you doing a good job. Boy, you doing a good job.
Look at you, and you got the whole Black Panther suit and everything. Look at you, better, you go, boy. You better do it. But also, can you stop killing people? Because like that.
Right. No, I get it.
Don't do that.
Oh man, I have to wholeheartedly disrespectfully disagree with your whole list. I was just like, yo, as you're reading it off, I'm like, what? Wait a minute. Hold on.
This is how I feel. I just thought stories like,
I knew zombies would rank low for you. That I knew.
Wasn't last though.
It wasn't. I appreciate that it wasn't last, but I knew it was gonna rank low. It was a fun. But
episode.
I'm okay with that.
It was a fun episode,
it's
but
not
like
your thing.
That's not even that. There was no real storyline for me to get invested in, if that makes sense.
I got you. For me.
So anyways.
Oh man. That was a fun ranking.
Yeah, that was fun. I respectfully accept that you disrespectfully agree with my my rankings. That's fine.
We're gonna have to post these on like Instagram and see like who people agree more with, because our lists are wildly different, and I was not expecting it to be that wildly different.
I knew where I had my Killmonger was gonna raise a chord with you. I did know that.
Yeah.
I was like, that's how I feel. Anyways.
All right.
So moving forward. So what if, we both said kind of like a kind of neutral right now about the What If series. I think we're both in a place. It was fun, but like, what is it do? We don't really understand the importance of it yet. So as a thought experiment, Nessa and I like just thought about, well, where would we rank all of the Disney Plus MCU TV episodes at this point in time? Do you want to go first or should I?
How about you go first?
Okay. So in least favorite to favorite, my least favorite was What If, for all the reasons we just chatted about. Followed by Falcon and the Winter Soldier, which I feel a little bad about putting in third spot, for very similar reasons as, my Killmonger bit. Like I really enjoyed Falcon talking about racial and equity issues. Like I wholeheartedly think that, the MCU did a service to the broader community of fans by introducing this topic in the way that they did. I know that like some fans are just like, oh, why is everything about race? And it's because everything's about race.
Yeah.
So I enjoy that they like took the leap and like really, really, if the plan was always for Falcon to eventually become the new Captain America, there's no way they could have done that well without digging into.
You can't get around it.
You can't get around the racial history of the country that we live in, right? So there's that. Followed by, that was number 3. My number 2 Disney Plus show would be WandaVision. And my number 1 would be Loki. Now, really quickly, my reasoning, my like kind of rubric for rating these shows was how I feel about their weight in contributing to the broader MCU universe, right? So What If, this is kind of ironic, but I'm not sure yet how it extends the universe, right? Which is ironic because it's all about like multiversal, whatever, right? So I'm not sure yet. So that's why it's number 4. Number 2 and 3, both like WandaVision and Falcon, we're seeing the aftermath of the Infinity Saga. And it was nice to see how some of these things played out after the snap and everyone coming back and everything. But it didn't really extend the storyline, the MCU story universe further than what we knew from the Infinity Saga. Loki actually did that and they did it well. So that's why Loki's my number 1. WandaVision and Falcon are kind of tied for number 2. And then What If is last. What about you?
So for me, maybe a surprise to the viewers, to the listeners, but I had the exact same list that you had.
We agreed.
So at we agreed. So at number 4, I had What If. Number 3, I had Falcon and Winter Soldier. Number 2, I had WandaVision. And number 1, I had Loki. So for me, though, I'm not gonna lie, like, so it was easy. 4 and 1 were simple. Like, What If to me is the weakest shows out of all of them. Although who knows, it may be super consequential. We'll see. But Loki was just so good. Loki was so good. The writing, the visuals, the way it expanded our knowledge of what we had going forward with the multiverse, introducing these new characters, the actors, like the cast, everything. It was just so good. And then so now I had to think about Falcon and Falcon and Wanda, and I had a tough time because for me with Wanda, I loved the magic. I loved the nostalgia of going through the different eras and the different TV shows. And I thought, the actress who played Wanda did a great job. And Elizabeth Olsen, yeah. So then we get Agatha, right? It was Agatha all along. And
I heard she might get her own spinoff.
I'd be here for it. So I always enjoy like the magic, the mystique behind everything. Seeing Wanda's powers expand and how they're trying to build her up in the MCU, and then even see her getting that title of Scarlet Witch and what that means. And then, the stinger that we get at the end, spoiler alert, the stinger that we get at the end of the season of like, where she's learning all this new magic and she looks like she's doing this whole Doctor Strange thing, right? And we know that she's going to be in the movie coming forward. So to me, it just held so much weight. But then you've got Falcon and Winter Soldier for all the reasons that you said. You're talking about,
my people,
inequalities,
my experience. Yeah.
And then even the experience. And then even outside of that, I really enjoyed the action.
Oh yeah, like that. The blood on the shield.
Yes.
Oh my gosh, like
episode 5. Yeah, episode 5 really was like, oh, y'all doing it. Y'all doing it. Where we got our Costco cap, our capping cap,
capping cap. Yep.
Our off-brand cap, our great value cap. You know what I'm saying? Like that whole dynamic
cheese cap.
Yeah. So for me, when I was thinking of how to rank them, I was like, honestly, if I turned on Disney Plus right now and I went to the Marvel shows, which one would I pick to rewatch in this moment? And I was just like, I'd pick WandaVision. Like I would want to rewatch WandaVision before I watch Falcon and Winter Soldier. And it's not to say that it wasn't a good show. And it's not to say that they didn't both have their pitfalls, but I was just like, man, if I wanted to watch one right now out of those two, which ones would I pick? So for me, it was WandaVision.
WandaVision had like the weird kookiness of like what we were watching for the first 3 episodes. It had freaking Monica Rambeau from Captain Marvel way back when. It had Darcy, who's like the funniest person in the entire like MCU universe. It had like Wanda's grief and like just learning about her backstory and all of that. It had Vision, like we cannot not talk about like Vision in itself. It had Albino Vision. I don't even know what his real name is, but I'm calling him Albino Vision. It had so much to it that just made for good TV watching. So I think that like, and just to reiterate your point, I think Falcon, like the premise, Wanda had the great like, but what is grief but love persevering? That like my goodness, that had Twitter, all the Twitter, right? Like hot, like who wrote that?
That was like a George R. Martin line.
It was so great. Like, and to have Vaishon deliver it in his turtleneck, oh my goodness, like it was just so great. So great. Anyway, so I'm saying all that to say that I agree with you that like WandaVision made for better TV, made for better viewing. Even though I agree with you that Falcon and the Winter Soldier might have like more, I don't want to say important themes, but just like themes that resonate more with
us. Yeah.
Yeah. So
absolutely.
So that is Disney Plus show.
So even though it's been great talking about Marvel and their shows and everything like that, we as a pair are into a wide array of stories and fantasies and everything like that. So we definitely wanted to give you guys a list of things that we have recently watched, are watching, and looking forward to watching, especially like outside of the MCU, you know? So not that we don't love talking about the MCU so much, but you know, we're not a Marvel podcast. We are into everything. So
a lot of things.
A lot of things. Yes, a lot of things. Not everything, but a lot of things. So I wanted to know, T, what have you been watching? What are you looking forward to? What are you into right now? What's going on? What's on your watch list?
So right now, this comes no surprise to you. I am finishing up another deep dive and rewatch into the Harry Potter series. Check out the snitch
the golden
necklace.
Snitch.
Yes, that was given to me by a friend because I ain't no snitch now. So I'm finishing up that, a rewatch of the HP movies and a deep dive into the storyline all over again. It's one of my favorite stories, if not my most favorite fantasy story of all time. So it's always a good time. It feels like being wrapped up in a warm blanket when I revisit the Harry Potter series. So I'm almost done with that. I am in the middle of an Infinity Saga rewatch. I've been in it for months. I've been in it for weeks. I'm just taking my time going through it all over again, and it's still a good time. I am technically, if I was going in chronological order, I am up to Civil War then Black Widow. So whatever comes next after that, I don't know off the top of my head, but that's where I'm at.
Oh, you're watching it chronologically instead of release date?
I was watching it by release date. And we'll talk about this later, but I watched Black Widow an hour ago, and now I'm kind of sad that I'm not watching it in timeline order. So we'll see. So next in release order, I believe, is Doctor Strange. So I'm gonna go and do Doctor Strange, and then I think it's Black Panther, I believe, and maybe Spider-Man.
Okay, so you kind of snuck it in there in chronological order.
I did, because the last movie I watched was Civil War. So that was helpful for me to contextualize like where we're at in the storyline for Black Widow. So that was good, but I'm not actually watching it in timeline order. I did watch it in timeline order when the pandemic first hit. So I did that, and it was marvelous. Like chef's kiss. It was so great to watch it in timeline order. Highly recommend it. So yeah, I'm in the middle of the Infinity Saga rewatch. A couple of months ago, I was gonna say weeks, but it's actually months ago, I watched the first episode of Invincible on Amazon Prime, and then the last 5 minutes of me had me like that. I was just like, I can't, and I stopped. So I'm going to finish that out. That is next on my list.
Do it, guys.
Finish that out.
So just really quick, I want to run in.
Do it.
So if you guys are friends of things like The Boys on Amazon Prime or Umbrella Academy on Netflix, like you will enjoy Invincible. It's kind of got like the animated style is almost like that late 90s morning cartoon almost kind of style. Like I'm not sure how to describe it.
Oh, what does it feel like? It almost feels Static Shocky to me.
Yeah.
It's like
yeah, and the storyline is gritty, it's violent, violent. So it's not your rated G or PG type of animated show. Like I highly suggest Invincible if you guys get around to it. Yes, continue.
I'm invested in it to the point, like, so I did the same thing with Game of Thrones, which is later on my list, but like at the end of the first episode, I was like, whoa, what the hell am I about to get into? But now I have to finish, right? So Invincible made me feel the same way at the first episode. So I'm gonna watch that. I am considering a Matrix rewatch. I believe
Mm-hmm.
the fourth Matrix movie is coming out in December, correct?
Yes. Same. I am definitely thinking about rewatching it as well, just to get prepared for that movie to come out. Mm-hmm.
I need to stop BSing and get into DC because I am not caught up on DC, the DCEU at all. And I was thinking about starting with Wonder Woman. If you have a different suggestion for me, Nessa, I will consider it.
I think Wonder Woman is a good start, because to be honest with you, that's one of their stronger movies.
Right.
So I think Wonder Woman would definitely get you interested, at least, into like what's going on, and then you can kind of go either way from there. Justice the Justice League movie is an investment. So is the Batman v Superman movie is an investment in time.
Are they both like 4 hours long a piece?
Basically. They are long. They are long, but I think Wonder Woman is a good start. Aquaman was a solid movie.
I saw Aquaman twice in the movie theater. I'm not sure why. I don't remember why.
Shazam. I think Shazam doesn't get enough flowers, I think, personally.
I saw Shazam.
I think if more of the DCEU movies took after Shazam, that they would be in a better place than where they are now.
I also saw Birds of Prey.
Birds of Prey, I liked, but I found problematic. I don't want to get too deep into it.
I had issues with it too. We can talk about it another time.
Yeah. The only thing I'll kind of say is like, it's supposed to be a Birds of Prey movie, but it turned into a whole Harley Quinn movie.
It was a Harley Quinn movie.
Yeah, and it was like, well, what about these other women? Especially because we had women of color. It was just like, I really rather know more about them and then how they all tie into this thing. But it was all Harley Quinn. But it was a fun ride. I wasn't mad at it.
Yeah, that movie felt like a sequel to the Suicide Squad, which I haven't seen, but I can tell from the movie that the Harley Quinn storyline was a sequel to I'm gonna say Terror Squad. Oh my gosh, I'm so New York. to the Suicide Squad. While the Birds of Prey portion felt like it was only for people who already knew who they were. Yeah. That's how I felt as someone who didn't know who they were. But anyways, Wonder Woman.
It had issues, yeah. Wonder Woman, you've already seen Aquaman, you've already seen Shazam. Then I mean the DCEU in terms of movies is pretty small.
Oh, okay. So I don't have a
pretty
whole
much
lot
the only where Man of Steel is like technically the first movie of it, so that's the standalone.
Didn't
Superman
that come out
movie.
like a decade ago?
Yes, ma'am. And that's why I was surprised when it was like they tied it into Batman v Superman. And I was like, wait, we're tying it into this old ass movie? Okay, hold on. But they never really took the time to establish our Ben Affleck Batman. Oh, girl, it's a whole thing. But
it doesn't matter because we're moving on to Edward Cullen anyway, so whatever.
Right, which I'm excited for too.
I am. I do want to see that.
I recently watched the trailer and I was like, I'm excited for you.
Yeah.
I wasn't before. I was not before, but I am now.
So yeah, I'm thinking Wonder Woman's next. And then this is like a huge sigh. And I've texted you many times about like whether or not I want to do this because it's such a commitment. But as you all should know, or maybe you haven't heard, if you haven't heard that Bird is the word. No, if you haven't heard that it's coming out, let me be the one to tell you that another TV series from the Game of Thrones world is coming out, right? Called House of the Dragon. It's supposed to be not necessarily a prequel, but like it takes place, I want to guesstimate 400 to 500 years before the events of the Game of Thrones series about the House of Targaryen, way, way, way before Dany. Spoiler, I guess. No, that's not a spoiler. That's just a character in the show. Yeah. Anyways, do I want to spend 80 something hours of my life rewatching the Game of Thrones series, especially considering how the entire world, including the actors, felt about the ending. I don't know, but it's on my list of things that I need to make a decision on whenever it comes to like, do I want to rewatch? So that's my rewatch list.
You know,
What
we're gonna
about
watch
you?
it. You know, we're gonna
Oh my
watch
god,
it.
Nessa is so like, we're not talking about half-an-hour episodes.
I'm saying keep the hope alive until it comes crashing down. I think that's what it is. I think that's where we're at now. I think we need to walk into it like it's gonna be great, and
No,
until it disappoints.
you mean House of the Dragon or me doing a rewatch
Yeah.
of Game of Thrones? Oh, I mean, I'm gonna watch it, but I don't have high
Yeah.
hopes. Like,
We'll
not one.
see. We'll
No,
see.
get out of here. I'm absolutely gonna watch it, but I don't
We'll
have high
see.
hopes. So we'll see.
Yeah.
What
All
are you
right.
watching right now?
So for me, as you know about me, my brain is all over the place when it comes to watching things. So I'm always like into everything at once. You're always like, how are you watching all these things? I'm like, I don't know. It happens. It's just me. But so I had to break down mine into categories. So what I have recently watched and slash currently watching, and kind of just like you, yeah, like I did a rewatch of HP of Harry Potter because it's on HBO Max. They put it back up. So I was just like, sure, why not? I think I got up to Half-Blood Prince. So I haven't done the last two movies just yet. I hope they haven't taken it off HBO Max just yet, but they might have. I don't know.
I mean, I have them on DVD, but it's like not the same.
It's not the same. It's not the same. So I have done that. I just finished season 3 of the Netflix show You, which was so good. If anybody is out there is a fan of You, please hit us up. Let us know. I don't want to give any spoilers about it, but it definitely was a wild ride. The cast was way more diverse than it has been. It gives you this funny look into like suburbia while having this kind of true crime air about it. And I mean, it's kind of messed up that at the end of the day you're kind of rooting for the serial killer stalker to get away with everything, but like legit that's how it ends up having you feeling, because you're just like, I need another season, so I need him to make it out of this so that we can watch you again. I So the season 5 premiere of the HBO Max show Insecure recently premiered. So I watched that and I love that show. I love it that it gives the nuance of Black life. None of the characters are stereotypical. It goes into the insecurities of becoming an adult and being 30 plus and trying to find your way. Or maybe you have the career but do you have love, or you've got love but do you have the career, you just had a baby and it's postpartum, and it really digs deep into things. And honestly, secretly, it pretty much is my life. I've run into a lot of the issues that happen on this show, and it is the series is the final season of the series, so everybody's kind of upset and in the uproar about it. So we're all excited to see how Issa Rae is going to end the show and how it's going to go and play out. There were a lot of cliffhangers from the previous season, so we're excited about it. Just watched Black Widow a couple of days ago and then rewatched it this morning preparing for this pod. We're going to talk much more about that later. We'll get into that. And then I'm also there was the season premiere of I Know What You Did Last Summer, the series, which premiered on Amazon Prime. I am a big fan of horror movies, so I don't know if anybody enjoyed the TV series of Scream, which was on MTV, which was really good. I felt like it had a few seasons, I think maybe 4 seasons. It was really good. So I tuned in for I Know What You Did Last Summer. The first episode was really slow, but I'm kind of curious to see where it goes. I don't know. So so that's what I've been currently recently watching. I have my soon to watch list, which are things that have been released but I haven't gotten to yet. So I have Dune, which is on HBO Max, Venom, which is out in theaters, and season 5 of Riverdale, which is a CW show based on the Archie comics, but it's definitely got a deeper, darker twist to it. There's murders, there's sex, there's drugs, and all that great stuff. What you come to expect out of CW teenage dramas. And that just popped up on Netflix not too long ago. And then things that are coming soon that we are excited about, things that have not dropped yet. So we obviously have the Eternals dropping in theaters November 5th. We have Big Mouth season 5 on Netflix. I'm excited about that. It's such a funny show. If you guys haven't seen
I don't
it.
know, like the whole show is about them going through puberty. What happens when they're done going through puberty?
I don't know, but enjoy it while it's here.
I know. One of my favorite characters that I wish they like talked about more was the Shame Monster, who was pretty much Severus Snape from the Harry Potter series.
Oh my god, yes, absolutely. Basically. But I mean, the kids are like in junior high, so
they're still in junior high.
Yeah,
yes.
If they really wanted to push it, they could push it to high school.
Fun fact for the listeners, Nessa and I met in junior high school, 6th grade.
We did.
We definitely did. When we were going through puberty. It was a wild time.
God.
It was a wild time.
Quite the time.
Yeah.
Tiger King season 2 is dropping on
Netflix.
November 17th. Yes. They are promising more stories from our Tiger King himself.
There's a season 2 of Tiger King.
Yes, ma'am.
How did I not hear about this?
2. I don't know, but like if you go on their website and they talk about the releases for November 17th apparently is when season 2 is dropping, and I am here for it. I'm here for all the madness. I want to hear about all the sex, drugs, and rock and roll that they were doing on this day.
Carol Baskin
Sanctuary
killed her husband, whacked him.
Little TikTok.
Carol Baskin.
Yo.
Oh my goodness. Wow. I did not know I needed that, and now I need it.
I'm weirdly excited for it.
I'm here for
because
it.
like when the pandemic hit,
oh
Tiger King was the big talk of the pandemic. And it was
so
the thing
wild.
Bringing everybody together.
It was so wild. It was so crazy. I remember just really quickly, I remember listening to one of the pods that we used to listen to, and one of the hosts being like, Tiger King is so crazy that like in the first episode, the man who is the inspiration for Scarface is like in the episode, just like chilling, like talking about buying and selling tigers. And that's not even the craziest thing that happens in the first episode.
No.
Oh my gosh.
Anybody that I try to explain, like I tell anybody who hasn't seen Tiger King, I'm like, I literally can't explain it to you. There's so much going on. You just have to watch it. Like there's no, it's a wild ride
to it. No.
Yeah, it's a wild ride, and you just gotta get on and just go for it. So I'm excited about that. Resident Evil Welcome to Raccoon City is dropping November 24th in theaters. Now, I've seen a couple of the Resident Evil movies, but I wasn't that excited about it. And then I recently watched the trailer, and I was like, man, zombies, viruses gone wrong. I was like, yeah, I'm excited about it.
How does that still excite you after living through a pandemic?
I don't know. It's different though. I don't know. It's too deep in my DNA for me to now just be like, oh, I'm not with it because we've been through a pandemic. Like I'm here all for it. Like I'm so into it. I'm ready for it. We have Spider-Man No Way Home dropping December 17th in theaters. Honestly, out of all the Marvel movies that dropped this year, this is the one I'm most excited for.
This year,
for this year. It's the one that I'm most excited for. Not that Eternals, I'm excited for it in a different kind of way. But Spider-Man, like, I'm ready to get my tickets. I'm ready to get my popcorn. Who want to go see it in the theater 3-4 times? Like, I'm ready for all of that. And then the last one, well, not the last one, the second to last I have on my list is Matrix Resurrections, dropping December 22nd in theaters and on HBO Max. So that's why when you said that you were getting ready to do your Matrix rewatch, I was like, you know what? I'm with you, because it's on HBO Max now. They have the trilogy on there now. So I'm definitely excited to go back and revisit the story and kind of refresh my brain on like a lot of the little details, because I really don't remember too many of those details. When Matrix was coming out, it wasn't really my jam. So it's like I watched it, but I wasn't really that deeply invested in it. But seeing the action star that Keanu Reeves has grown to become, I'm definitely more interested for sure. And then the last thing I have on my list is Hawkeye, which will be dropping November 24th on Disney Plus. So that is coming. That will be our next Marvel Disney Plus show that is coming to us. Are you excited about that, T?
I am excited in the way that, like, it feels good to see old friends, you know, like we spend a lot of time with Hawkeye theoretically. I mean, it's not like he had his own movie or anything, but you know, he's been around. And so it'll be good to see him again. And I think especially after the Infinity Saga, we haven't heard from him. And I am dying to know how the world deals with him being Ronin. Like, he spent 5 years being a complete villain, killing people, killing other bad guys, sure, but still just out here killing people, and nobody stopped him, right?
Yep.
And now everybody comes back. It's like,
and nobody had nothing to say. Nobody had nothing to say when this man came back.
That feels like a special sort of privilege. Feels like a special sort of privilege that I won't put a color to. But anyways, I'm excited to see if they talk about that at all. Like, is he dealing with having to deal with the fact that he killed a bunch of people, and you know, in his grief he killed a bunch of people, but his family came back, so now what?
Right. He got what he wanted.
Right. So I'm excited to see that. I'm also excited to see actually you go ahead with your thoughts about Hawkeye, and then I'll wrap up with mine.
I mean, for me and Hawkeye, I am interested to see it for the same reasons that you named. I'm interested to see how he deals with Black Widow's death.
I was actually going to say that,
yeah, how that affected him. It seems like we're getting a new character by the name of Kate Bishop, who it looks like they're poisoning her to take the mantle of Hawkeye. So I'm curious to see what she's like. Are we gonna like her? Like, can she sit with us?
I don't know. You know? I don't know if she can sit with us.
So yeah, and just like you said, like, how is he dealing with the aftermath of being Ronin, and just where we are at in the Infinity Saga with him afterwards. But I gotta ask you, are you tired? Are you fatigued with the after Infinity Saga stuff?
I'm not fatigued with it, because I still think that there is a lot to unpack, right? Because Infinity Saga ended with everybody coming back, and then Tony, spoiler alert, unfortunately passing away, and Captain America, for all intents and purposes, disappearing and then reappearing on a bench looking like Joe Biden, right? So like, there's still a lot of like gaps to fill in as to like how the world is reacting after the blip and like being brought back. And we saw some of it, we saw a teeny bit of it from like a superhero perspective with Wanda. You see it more so from like a regular person perspective with Falcon. And so I'm interested to see like how this plays out with and a little bit also with Spider-Man, right? Like with No Way Home, Far From Home.
Yeah.
So I'm interested to see how that plays out in Hawkeye as well, for all the reasons you mentioned, also especially dealing with like his potential role in Natasha Romanoff's death, how he deals with that, whether or not, like, you cannot tell me that Natasha and Clint didn't have a slightly more than friend relationship. So I'm
100%
wondering
believe it.
if anyone's going to call that out anytime soon. Like, I don't know, maybe Kate will be like, because your girlfriend died, she's not my girlfriend. It's like, she is, but fine. You know, things like that. So yeah, I am interested in that. And no, I'm not tired of the aftermath of the Infinity Saga just yet. I'm close though.
I'm on that cusp. I think I'm at a point where I am kind of ready to move on, and just like keep pushing forward to our next story. And you know, that was the great thing about Loki. I felt like it was launching us into that next phase. But I'm not mad to spend time with a character like Hawkeye, because it's always great. You know, we spend so much time with like the souped up characters and stuff like that. But it's always great to come back down to the street level characters, the human characters who really, not that Spider-Man doesn't have a lot to lose or whatever, or Thor or anybody else, but like these are the guys who aren't like Captain America and can keep going all day. Like, you know,
I could do this all day. I hope so. I sincerely hope so.
Because I can't.
Because I mean, I can, and I just want to make sure that you can, Mr. Christopher Jamal Evans. Okay, like, so go ahead.
Christopher Rodney Evans. But yeah. So I mean, I think it'll be interesting. It's not something that I'm running to go watch. It's not something like WandaVision where like I'm on the interwebs like, what does this mean? Is it Mephisto?
Is it Mephisto? Is it Mephisto?
It's not going to be something that I'm that deep into, but I'm going to enjoy it for what it is, I hope. Anyways.
Yeah, definitely.
And, you know, even tying us to the Hawkeye series, we've just recently watched Black Widow.
Like an hour ago.
Yes. And we have to give a spoiler alert because we are going to give things away from Black Widow. We've kept it pretty spoiler free, I think, for the things that we're watching. Please let us know what you guys are getting into, what you guys are watching, if you're watching any of the same stuff that we are. So we're going to transition into Black Widow.